know you've all seen the movies. Attractive doctor, waiting room filled with wannabe suitors, dreaming about becoming the doctor's spouse, or next spouse, as it were. Dressed to the nines, hair did, hoping for the chance. If only this doctor knew the real me, they'd fall in love, and we'd live happily ever after in our mansion and sail around the world on our yacht. Hi guys, welcome back. Yes, as a physician, I've had my share of proposals, both marriage and otherwise. And I know that outside of familial relationships, there are very few that trump the importance of the one between a doctor and a patient. We're here to help you and to improve the quality of your life, and we do so happily. As with any other relationship, in order for this one to be successful and beneficial, both parties must contribute. There are 10 things that patients do or say that their physicians wish they didn't. Your physician may not be ballsy enough to tell you this, but I will, because these 10 things can negatively impact your health as well as the quality of your health care. So as you hear these, note which ones you're guilty of and leave me a confession in the comments below. I would also be interested to hear about your best and worst experiences in a doctor's office, clinic, hospital, and I've organized these from the least nefarious to the most. So pay special attention to numbers 8, 9, and 10 and avoid those at all costs. Number 1, I already told your nurse that. Listen. I know my nurse has already asked you this question. You've answered this question on a questionnaire. However, I may ask the question differently. My follow-up questions may be different and may lead to different answers. You would probably be surprised by how many times I get information that is either forgotten or totally different than information that the nurses will get. So these redundancies are built into this process for a reason, a very significant reason. It helps us tremendously to diagnose you properly and get you the right treatment. So, yes, we do communicate. Yes, my nurse comes and tells me everything that you've said. However, I am going to repeat a lot of those questions again. Number 2, well, I have some medical problems, but I don't know what they are. You should always, always, always know what medical problems you've been diagnosed with and how they're being treated. Obviously, you need to know this so that you can optimize your health, but also it allows us to treat you appropriately. To that end, I recommend that you keep a card in your wallet that has your past medical history on it. Also, I recommend the same thing for your past surgical history. I can't count the number of times that people will come in and they say, I had a surgery, but I don't know what it was. Well, if you've had, for instance, a surgery on your abdomen and you don't know what it is, it binds my hands. Like, there's so many structures in the abdomen. There's so many different surgeries that are performed inside of the abdominal cavity, and knowing which surgeries you've had in the past will lead me down a certain path to diagnosis and getting you diagnosed properly. So on that card, definitely write down the surgeries that you've had so that you can be informed and so that we will have accurate information. Number 3, I take some medications, but I don't know what they are. Well, my advice to you is never put anything in your body if you don't know what it is or what it's supposed to be treating. Also, it's vital that we know which medications you're taking, because we're going to potentially be prescribing other medications that may interact with those. Or if what you're taking isn't working and we need to prescribe something else, then we need to know what not to prescribe and what to prescribe. It's a logistical nightmare. And then having my staff sit on the phone and call the pharmacies, or having you sit on hold waiting for the pharmacy to give you a list of medications is a total waste of time, energy, and resources. So on that card that you're going to keep in your wallet, make sure that you include your medications, their doses, how often you take them, and also why you're taking them, because certain medications can be used for different illnesses. So even if a medication is predominantly used to treat condition X, in you, your physician may be using it to treat condition Y. So all of those are very important to include on that card. Number 4, yes, I'm taking my medications. Now, don't lie. If you're not taking your medications, we need to know that. Or if I've prescribed something to you that has a limited course, let's say antibiotics, and you haven't taken all of them, you need to be honest with me and let me know that, because that will influence pretty much all of the decisions that I make from that moment forward. So if we're going to have an open and honest relationship, I need you, or your physician needs you, to be very honest about whether or not you are taking your medications, because he or she, based on the information that you give, may try to increase your dose, lower your dose, change your medications, and all of that may be needless if you're simply not taking the medication. Number 5, I'm allergic to a medicine, but I don't know what it is. Well, that's just dangerous and that can kill you. So add your allergies to that card that you're going to keep in your wallet or purse, because that's information that we definitely need to know. And we won't know what the blue pill is. So you can't say, well, I'm allergic to a medicine and it was blue. Well, there are thousands and thousands of different blue pills, so that gives us no information at all. Number 6, I Googled my symptoms and I know I have. Okay, so I love Google. I use Google all the time. However, we go to school and train for a long time to be able to discern one disease from another based on symptoms and other findings, and Dr. Google is no replacement for that. And you have to be very careful using Google to get medical information, because there's a lot of bad information, wrong information, misleading information, dangerous information. So just be very careful before you self-diagnose. I'll give you an example. I had a patient who came in not long ago, young guy. I go into the exam room and we're talking, and he says, well, I have a sore throat and I Googled it, so I know I have throat cancer. Well, he didn't have throat cancer, and that would not be numbers 1, 2, 3, 10 on my list for him. So you just have to be very careful before jumping to conclusions based on information that you find on Google. We want you to be educated. We want you to be informed. We just want it to be done in the right way. I know that you've heard the expression, a little knowledge is very dangerous, and that is definitely true. Number 7, I had a fever. Okay, how high did your fever get? Well, my thermometer was broken, so I didn't actually take my temperature, but I felt hot. No, you didn't have a fever. So tactile temperatures or discerning that you had a fever by touch is horribly unreliable. It doesn't count. If you feel someone and they feel warm, that does not mean that they have a fever. Wait, let me say that again. You cannot tell if someone has a fever by touching them. You need to take your temperature with a thermometer in order to determine whether you had a fever, because you will be misled time and time again if you gauge whether someone has a fever by touching them. I know that my child's fever is really high, but I didn't give him any Tylenol because I wanted you to see that he had a fever. What? No, no. Give that child some medicine before you leave the house. A fever of 104 is nothing to play around with, I promise you. And we will believe you when you come in and you say, my child had a fever of 104, I gave him some Tylenol or ibuprofen and it's gone down since then. That's okay. It's not going to interfere with what we do. We would want to know what the fever was, like what the temperature was with a thermometer, because a tactile temperature doesn't count. Number 8, can't you just give me a shot? Well, no, I can't just give you a shot. First of all, there are not very many illnesses or diseases that can be treated with one shot. Yes, there are shots that we can give to help you to get better faster, but that shot is not always the answer. Just because you got a shot the last time doesn't mean that you need a shot this time. Number 9, I just need an antibiotic. This is the most important item on the list. Antibiotics are so overprescribed. We understand that the expectation that a patient has is to come in and get antibiotics and that will make them feel better. But honestly, antibiotics are not the answer to all that ails you. There are lots of illnesses that look similar to bacterial infections that are not caused by bacteria. There are lots of viral infections that patients come in expecting to be treated with antibiotics. So I try to educate patients about why they don't need an antibiotic, but it's a struggle because someone will give them an antibiotic for a viral illness. They'll feel better the next day and think it was the antibiotic. Well, no, you were going to feel better anyway. It had nothing to do with the antibiotic. Your body took care of that. And antibiotics don't typically treat a bacterial infection in one day. There are some exceptions. Also, we are breeding some badass bacteria by overprescribing antibiotics. There will come a time when we will run out of treatment options for certain bacterial infections because they'll be resistant to all of the available antibiotics. So when your physician tells you that you have a viral infection or that it's something environmental and that you don't need antibiotics, then trust that and use alternative treatments for that illness. Number 10. I had some antibiotics left over from the last time that I got sick, so I just started taking those. Well, 1, you should not have had any antibiotics left over the last time. We don't randomly choose doses and length of time to prescribe antibiotics. We base that on experimental evidence. We know how long it's going to take to kill certain bacteria. So when you're given a prescription for 7 days, please take the antibiotics for the full 7 days. You should not have any left over. So that is it. Those are the 10 things that your doctor wishes you knew, but may be too afraid to tell you. Don't forget to leave me a comment about your experiences down below. If you are not already subscribed, now is a great time to do so. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more videos like this, let me know. If you know someone who is guilty of any of these violations, go ahead and forward this video to them. You'll be doing them a great service. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.